The course is designed really to help someone professionally and personally.
Yes, level 1, which is 5 4-day workshops spread over about 8 weeks apart. At the end of that, you'll get a certificate and you can give it to the IICT, which is the International Complementary Therapists Association, and then you can get your professional indemnity insurance, and you can legally trade here in Australia as an alternative therapist. When you do level 2 and complete that, then you'll get a certificate that says you have completed level 2 training, and then when you do level 3, then again there's a process around that. Doing level 3, as I said, means we go to the Amazon and experience plant medicine with Mother Aya, and take our connection with spirit to a higher level. After that, if people are in the medicine and they're practicing it and they're keen and spirit says yes, then we look at initiation, and that's an ordeal and a half, but they come through that and then they can call themselves shaman, and only in that time, up until that point, people are shamanic practitioners.
Yeah.
But the shaman are a rare breed. And not everybody wants to go there, and that's fine, because that journey is not for everybody.
Well, if you look at different cultures and societies, there wasn't a whole society of all of shamans. No. It was a couple, right? If you're a practitioner, if you're not a practitioner, this course is really helpful for everyone, isn't it?
It is. It's a journey of evolution.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a journey of looking through ancient eyes, of through animism, which is a connection to everything, and understanding that everything is spirit and we are spirit and all of that. And it's a journey of healing. It's a journey of community.
What is the first module like?
Yeah, the first module here is getting to know each other. And the first thing I create is the golden rules of no judgment, no advice, and so that people can immediately relax and say, okay, I can just be who I am. And then we go through a process. I provide questions about the life's journey, your relationship with your grandparents, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your siblings. What that does, again with no judgment, no advice, it allows people to arrive here. They can say as much as they want about themselves, to tell everybody about themselves. And what's amazing is that immediately builds community. Everybody's on the same level. I kick off with my story first, and now it's, as you know, it's well published, but I kick off with my stories. It just relaxes everybody into, and we come together as a community.
I remember I was considering doing the course for a long time, and I felt a lot of resistance around doing it, especially because I felt nervous about being in a group of people and sharing my story and taking the journey with people for 12 months. But I remember the first time that I ever came down where the group had already arrived, it was actually the first time that I ever felt like I belonged somewhere. A big wound of mine previously had been that I felt so different to the rest of the world and that there wasn't really a place for me. So when I first came down and met everybody and the way that I was welcomed into that community, like that feeling has never left me.
Can I say that on this course, many people make friends for life.
Oh yeah.
That deep bond that you have in taking this journey, you make friends for life, and that's priceless.
Well, there's just nothing really quite like it. I was thinking about that today, how it's just amazing the way that everything lands at the right time. Like I think about how hesitant I was to do the course, and then I finally did it. And when I did it, I was like, this is why I was hesitant. And I chose to do it now because of the people who I got to connect with and learn from. Some of the women and I, we ran a retreat from there, and there's been ongoing collaboration and friendship. And I think it really redefines what is possible in connecting with people.
Yeah, with those barriers down, it's amazing how this place operates. Even just with our kitchen and food, how things just elegantly just flow, the energy flows, and the things just happen, and they happen in the most beautiful way.
It's a very transformative experience, just leaving all judgment at the door, being open to whoever's there, working with them, whether it is in a healing capacity, whether it is in between, in the kitchen, as you say, and cooking together, and it is a really wholesome experience.
Now, when people come here, I have a belief that their soul is calling them here.
Anyone who feels the calling should come, and I feel a lot of people wait to be ready, but it's not about being ready, it's about following the calling. I definitely was not ready.
Yeah.
In the way of I felt a lot of resistance, and I felt there was a lot that came up for me around doing it, but I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah.
The amount of trauma in 12 months over those workshops that I personally was able to release was staggering, and how incredible it was to have other facilitators there who were so gifted to hold me through that process. It was incredible.
Absolutely. And look, our Western life is just so full of trauma.
Yeah.
It is so full of trauma. And the first question we always ask is, did you feel safe as a child? And if you didn't feel safe as a child, which is the majority of the Western world, not all, then your trauma starts there, and it just gets layered upon people after that, and there's a big process. And when people go through their, what we call funk, then often it will trigger repressed memories, and stuff will come up, and my policy is to deal with what's in front of me. So if stuff comes up, we go to it, and it's an opportunity to heal somebody, it's an opportunity to teach, and it's an opportunity for the other students to have a lived experience of watching someone go through their trauma, coming out the other side and seeing them at peace. And the beauty of that, the sheer beauty of that state change, that we can, and then we're talking about permanent state change. We're not talking about feeling good for today and maybe tomorrow and then the next day, oh, well, I feel the same. No, when we do this work, there's permanent state change.
It was really healing and also eye-opening and educating to witness people go through their process. I remember you had a client here, and it was when we were doing anger, and to witness a male go through that process was really healing for me, because when I met that man, you wouldn't think that he was harboring that level of anger, but to see what a man can have within him, and just to see that release was incredible.
It's a good education for the feminine, because when you understand, we have a society that not only represses emotion but denies it. So it's not cool to be angry, and you get into trouble if you get angry. But when we can be angry in a healthy way, and it really comes out, it becomes primordial. You see the very primitive side, and the release of that, and then you look at the person afterwards, you go, wow, is that the same person?
When people arrive here, there's tents, there's facilities.
So we have, to start off with, we have a highly functional bush kitchen, and we have no trouble feeding 20 people. In the bush kitchen, we actually have a coffee machine, and we have power, and we have a fridge. And we have this wonderful fire circle that allows us to always have a fire going. We do most of our work here, and this also works for wet weather, so it provides that flexibility. Every course we do sweat lodge.
Yes.
And so we can go into that ancient process of sweating and release.
When someone leaves after the first module, they've experienced sweat lodge, they've experienced the community, your teachings, of course. They learn a ritual.
They learn an individual ritual, and we start to start to move into divination.
Yes.
Yeah. So any of you Harry Potter fans?
When I was doing my training and I started to do the divination, I was honestly blown away. And the people who I was in a group with, we all just connected, and what came through for each other was seriously profound. And I think in that moment, like, I had a lot of doubt around doing it because I thought, oh, what if nothing comes to me? What if it doesn't work or whatever? And when I did divination and when I received and when I really opened up, it gave me so much assurance that I was where I needed to be.
Yeah, well, in our psyche, we have the autonomic nervous system, which is here in the body, and we have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Everybody has a parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
That's where you go to get your divination. So it's not like, oh, what happens if I haven't got it?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a parasympathetic nervous system. All you need to do is to develop the communication between here and here, and this will come. So it's just a matter of practice.
And I found that through doing the practice and through connecting, it just developed such a profound sense of self-trust that wasn't there previously.
Yes. And self-trust and also faith.
Yeah.
Faith that okay, I have this part of my psyche, I've accessed it, and now I'm getting information that otherwise I wouldn't have, and that's what divination is about. And then how we use that afterwards. But to start off with, it's just learning to, okay, let's see if I can connect and see what comes to me.
What comes through. Yeah. And certainly opening up in that way has helped me in my business, like being able to help clients in a much more intuitive way, rather than following this is how you coach someone. It's able to connect in with that individual and give them guidance really specific to them. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. And this is the point about having the lived experience of it, because unlike many of the other practices where they come by textbooks, our world, it's okay, and then be guided by what you get and work with that client and go through the process of coming into the body and using the body as a platform, going into there and releasing it all and bringing people out of it. And that's how we get the shamanic healing. There's a shamanic ritual that covers every part of the human experience.